All
Awesome.
righty. So, welcome. I'm so happy to be here today with Elodie, who was a student in one of my previous courses in Health Coaching Essentials and has just been doing great things in her coaching practice. And so, just really happy to reconnect with you today, Elodie, and chat a little bit about your experience with Health Coaching Essentials. So, maybe just tell us a little bit about kind of where you're calling in from. Tell us a little bit maybe about your coaching practice and kind of where you are right now.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. First of all, thank you for having me here. I'm calling in from Amsterdam, actually in the Netherlands. It's pretty cold and rainy here at the moment. Um, yeah, so I am a holistic health coach, but I'm actually currently transitioning to coaching specifically highly sensitive women to building deep inner strength and resilience in order to cope with overwhelm and overstimulation. So yeah, and I'm just launching that program. Until now, I've just been coaching, just general holistic health coaching for all sorts of different goals.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And it sounds like you've really, over the last little bit, sort of taken it to this next level, really gotten, honed in on your niche and everything, which is so exciting. And when you talk about that, and just when I hear you say it out loud, it really does resonate, from what I know about you. And yeah, I'm sure you're going to really be able to help those women. So yeah, it's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it really
Yes.
does feel aligned.
Ah, so good, so good. So when you think about, where you were, kind of as you sort of found me, and Health Coaching Essentials, can you talk a little bit about kind of the state of things at that point, like where you were with your coaching practice, any struggles or challenges that you're having?
Yeah, of course. So when I found your website, I think I just graduated from IN, or I was just about to graduate. And I'd already been seeing a couple of clients. I was coaching for a couple of months at that point. But I think I kind of lacked a little bit of a process, a little bit of a framework. I know I was definitely more in that educator role. I was giving my clients a lot of information and really trying to make them aware and educate them, which has its value. But I think the area where I wasn't very skilled at is the actual coaching, because one thing that I learned as we actually progressed with the course was that, there's a big difference between determining what's point A and what's point B, where do they want to get, and actually guiding someone through that behavioral change process. So I definitely, yeah, kind of lack that process. And I'm someone who I like a little bit of guidance. I like to know, what's the right way. And I just felt a little bit lost. And I also just noticed that my clients weren't showing up as like they were showing up consistently, but they weren't as committed to the process. I think because people don't come to a coach just to, learn stuff. I think most people already have a pretty good understanding of what they need, what they need to do, but it's a whole other thing to actually do that.
Yeah, and make those changes, right? And that's one of the biggest values I think that we can provide our clients, right? Is the information is all out there. They probably all tried to do this on their own with all of that kind of free information, right? But it's that accountability, it's the consistency, being kind of with them every step along the way that really makes that difference. And I think, and I hear it so often what you talked about, as a new coach, that education role, right? Like we think, well, we're just here to provide all this information and kind of tell them what to do and give those recommendations and give that advice. And, I think as you've learned, and as I know that, the coaching, that behavioral change coaching process really is so much more effective than just giving them more information that they really don't know what to do with. Right? So, yeah.
And one other thing that also I just comes to mind, which is something I don't really do anymore, and which is a good thing, is I used to prep for every session. I used to have like 1 or 2 pages of notes just in case any of these questions would come up. Whereas now, even if a client sends me something, in advance, like, oh, I really want to focus on this, but then they show up to the session and they're like, right now, something else seems to take priority. I'm no longer nervous about that. It's just this, I definitely lack the confidence and the ease to just coach. So that's another really big one where I was like stressing about sessions, like need to prepare everything to the last. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I can relate to that. I did the exact same thing. And I think most of us do. We want to provide value. We want to show up and make it seem like we know what we're doing and what we're talking about. So we do all this prep and we follow up after, we're doing so much work that, I think what you're talking about and, what I hope is when people go through my process is you can relieve and release a lot of that, right? Because you show up as a coach, knowing that the client has the answers inside of them. And, you just really get good at those coaching skills, right? And the process of how am I going to guide them to find their own answers, right? Yeah. So it does release a lot of that pressure and that worry and those doubts and fears about having to be this expert with all the answers, right?
Yeah,
that's such a great, I'm so glad to hear that that's really kind of like solidified for you and you're living it. Yeah. Cause it makes such a huge difference for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So when you heard about the course, was there anything particular that kind of inspired you to actually take the step and enroll?
When I graduated, or like I said, was about to, I was kind of looking for a little bit more guidance around that. And so I actually just Googled your name and found you there. And when I was reading through the messaging, I mean, all of it was like, yes, 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 need this. And because I had experienced firsthand how not only skilled you are, but also how understanding, like, I remember I felt really comfortable doing those coaching practice sessions in the coaching circles, which I definitely felt different. I think people were a lot more shy, maybe because we didn't have a camera, but it just really spoke to me. And I think now I can say with confidence that it really did tick all the boxes for me. It really, it was exactly what I was looking for. And I got exactly that. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Thank you. Having done all of that work with IIN students and just, spoken to, thousands of students and listened to their stories, I think, I have a pretty good sense of, what some of those struggles and challenges are. So I'm glad that resonated for sure. Yeah. So, I know we've talked already a little bit about what it was like to go through the course and working together, but yeah, maybe share a little bit in terms of, what you found most helpful. What were the highlights? Yeah. Just anything about your experience.
Yeah. I mean, my experience was great from the start. Like, I have to say, you're such a warm and supportive person. So from day one, I felt like I was in really good hands. And I really loved the combination of having materials to read or work through during the week, but then also having the opportunity to actually apply those learnings and get real-time feedback from you. So I was really impressed by how much time we actually got, like face-to-face time we got with you. And you really took the time to answer any questions, to help move us through any areas we were feeling stuck in or challenged. And then, of course, having the actual coaching sessions that we then received feedback from you. And, you really took your time with every single person to give useful feedback. Every time I still have a note with all the notes that you gave me and I look back on where I'm like, okay, this went well, this could have gone better. So I think, that really made the experience incredibly valuable to me. And I also just want to add that, I mean, the materials that you provide are incredible. I still look back at them all the time if ever I'm feeling a little bit stuck, starting with something new. And I just go back. I mean, you provide the basics, but also so much more. Like, I was really surprised at how much is in there. It's really, you have the full, like, anything you might need for setting up a coaching program, a business, really, a coaching biz. So that was just, I mean, so like beyond worth the money.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. I'm so glad it was helpful. I mean, I really did try to think of, all those component pieces of helping you get through the program and what you might need. It was funny when the people that were helping me set up the course and kind of design stuff, they were like, why do you have so many materials? They kept saying, and there's more. It's like, that's one thing, I'm detail oriented. I do try to think of everything. So I'm glad to hear that was helpful. And yeah, I mean, the skills labs really are what I think kind of set this apart, that yes, it's one thing to learn all those theories and practice your skills and to learn your skills and kind of the techniques and things behind them. but to actually get there every week and be able to practice all of those different component pieces of those coaching sessions and really understand, like, why am I asking this and why are we doing this section? And to really get that like point and purpose behind all of the questions and the sections. And, to see the progress that people make, over the 9 weeks in terms of, those first sessions where, pretty nervous and really not knowing what to do to the end, and, really feeling confident in that whole, process and how to guide your clients through. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that was.
Absolutely. And I mean, I can really vouch for it because I actually did another course afterwards to help with like crafting like a high ticket offer and marketing and everything. And that was also a group program where we had weekly calls, but it was, you didn't get as much face-to-face time. The groups were a lot bigger. So another thing that I really liked is that it was smaller groups. So everyone really did get a lot of more personalized time with you. And if I compare it to this other course that I did, it was very general. And in fact, we didn't even really address the course materials. So I love that it was just in those 2 hours, you can get so much from that. So we do, the fact that we went over a little bit, like you said, the purpose of the questions and the whole process, and then also getting to practice that and apply it was just, that combination, I think, is really what just made it so effective as well.
Oh, it's so great. And I know that you made some good connections in the groups as well, right? Hopefully.
I'm still in touch with some of them. I mean, Alicia and I actually talk weekly.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great.
Yeah.
Because those connections, like that peer support, I think is so important. And I really encourage, folks to stay in touch. And of course, then there's the buddy coaching component, right, in the course where you can practice in between our skills labs. So, you get a lot of time with these other people and become really great colleagues and confidants, and, hopefully just stay in touch, because in this business, I always say that, it's kind of a lonely business doing this from home and kind of different work than a lot of people are doing in the world. So to have other people who get this industry and this business and get what coaching's all about, it's so great to have those people in your corner. So I'm so glad to hear that you're still in touch, and those were some great connections that you made.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sure. So I think we talked about sort of what was most helpful. Talk a little bit about kind of some of the changes maybe that you noticed as you went through the course, results, just achievements, like shifts that you had as you went through.
Yeah. So on a personal level, I think I really stepped into my role as not even just my role, but my potential as a coach. I knew, I don't want to sound cliche or something, but I always knew that I was meant to be a coach, or, it feels like a very right profession, but to really be able to tap into that potential and really become confident within that was, I think, the biggest shift that I saw on a personal level. And beyond that, even almost better, was the shifts that I saw in my clients. So there was one client I was working with. I'd already been working with him for a while, and was still working with him while we did the course. And the second I started applying the process that you laid out for us, I started to see the results also, just the way that, the results just got so much bigger and so much more, the goals that they were achieving was just really beautiful to see. So that was a major win, is just to see, I would get like messages that I never got, like after coaching sessions. Yeah, I feel like awesome, and thank you so much for that. And just seeing them shift alongside how I started shifting was just, that was, I think, a really beautiful outcome that I didn't even quite expect. I was like, okay, cool. Now I have like a person who's paying me to like practice. And to see those shifts is really, really powerful.
Yeah. And, it really reinforces, right? Then for you, I mean, you start to show up a little bit differently and, you hope that it's landing, you hope that it's making a difference for your client, but then to actually, hear that come back, and not that maybe they said, oh, I noticed that you showed up differently, but just, oh, that was great. And, there was a difference, right? There was a shift. So, as your confidence and your process shifted a little bit, that impacted your client as well. So that's so cool. And I was so thrilled that you were able to put that into practice, not only just in our skills labs as we were going through, but also with your clients at the time, which makes such a difference when you can actually apply it in real time, in real life, right? And see how it works. And then, your belief in the process, hopefully even, increases because you're like, yeah, I mean, this works. I'm seeing those shifts with my clients. So yeah, that's so amazing to hear. Yay. So if you kind of look back at before Health Coaching Essentials, kind of to where you are today, and I know you've done some other things since then, but what would you say are maybe the biggest shifts that you've seen?
I think, like I said, like the biggest thing is how I show up as a coach, like my confidence. Like I have no more, like I had a lot of more self-doubt around, am I a good coach? Am I doing this right? Is this the best way to get my clients the results that they desire? And all of those doubts have just kind of like disappeared. I feel really, really confident and really solid in my process. And like, obviously I've also tailored it to my own practice now. And I'm also changing things up as I transition to this new niche, but the basics, those are there. And I feel at ease when I come into a session. I can really enjoy it. And I think, like I said, that's reflected also in the results that my clients are experiencing. So that's definitely been, the biggest.
Yeah. And, those are some of the biggest worries that I hear from new coaches, right? That, oh my gosh, what am I going to do during a session? And I don't really know what to do. And, this combination, providing advice and education and recommendations and, being able to let all that go and just, be really solid that this is the process I follow, no matter what your niche is, no matter what your, topic is, it's still the same behavioral change process, right? We're helping people make changes in their life. And so the same fundamental principles apply, no matter, who it is that you're coaching. And I know for me, like when I started using that process myself, I mean, it's just like, I can go into any coaching situation, no matter what the topic, no matter what they throw at me, and I can handle it now, because I get the coach approach. I get what my role in all of this is and how I'm supposed to show up. And I understand what are all those pieces that can help my clients be successful. Right. Yeah. So it is such a huge relief to just be able to really be solid in that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So again, I'm incredibly grateful for
Well, thank you. Is there anything else just before we wrap up that you'd like to add about just the experience, the course?
Yeah, I think honestly, like I've said this before and I can't like say it enough that like this has been by far the best investment that I've done in myself and my business, because this is the foundation of everything else that you build on. And I also just want to add, like, it's the value that you get is so beyond like the price that you pay. So I really, really appreciate that it is an accessible price. And I mean, like I said, the value that you get is just priceless. Like I still go back to it all the time. I mean, just yesterday, actually, I was like finding some things on goal setting. And I was like, let me go back to the basics of that and really, so that's just, And so I'm incredibly grateful to have found you.
Well, thank you. And I mean, you showed up, you did the work, right? I mean, you were always prepared. You were there on time. You just, I know that you gave your full effort to the course. And so, you got a lot out of it because you really did, engage and participate and take all that you could from it, which, is absolutely makes my job a pleasure. That's for sure.
And I'm not the only person who says that. Everyone else in my group said the same. Like every time behind the scenes, we'd be like, wow, incredible. And like Alicia and I still to this day, they're like constantly talking about it. Like, damn, are we grateful for Michelle? So yeah.
So amazing.
I'm not the
So
only one.
amazing. Oh, well, you're doing amazing. I wish you all the best with this new niche and going forward with your practice. Any of those women who, work with you will be, in great hands. You are an amazing coach. And so thank you so much for your time today and sharing all of just those kind words. I appreciate them so much and appreciate you. So thanks again and have a wonderful weekend. And I look forward to keeping in touch.
You too, Michelle. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Take care. Thanks.